الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. طيب إخوان, what was the first, do you remember the first قاعدة we covered? The first one from this, what was the first thing we covered? Tahmid? The first thing what we did, the qaida. You should remember the qaida. What we're going through.
Acknowledging that Allah is the only Lord, His rububiyyah is not enough. It's not sufficient to affirm to an individual to be judged as Muslim. So just His rububiyyah, like the people of Quraysh.
Okay, so the first qaida we learned that the Prophet was sent to the Quraysh, the mushrik of the Quraysh. They believed Allah, the creator, the provider, the sustainer. He the one who gives life and death. But that did not make them Muslim. Still, Prophet called them to Islam, and he fought them as well. Fought them. He did not look at their rububiyyah. So that was the first thing we've learned. And the important thing that we've taken from this lesson is that, we've mentioned that we've come across a lot of Muslims like this. They don't practice their deen at all. They believe in Allah and the Messenger, and that's it. And we learned that's not enough to make him become Muslim. So we have to believe Allah, the Lord, believe He exists, He's the Lord of the heaven and earth. That should be enough for us to know that He should be worshipped alone as well. Allah commands us to worship Him because He's the Lord of the heaven and earth. So that was the first qa'idah we've learned. And it is a lesson for us that we should be practicing our deen. The second qa'idah, what was the second one we covered? Do you remember, Akhi? No. Do you remember the second? Okay. Do you remember the second rule we covered? You could come every day so you don't miss out on anything. Tahmid? What was the second thing we've taken?
Fuhat. Second rule.
Only can ask if you were here then.
They did not invoke them. The disbelievers, they said that they did not invoke them to seek. They used to invoke them to seek nearness to Allah.
We have to try and know it in English, to summarize it much as we can. So that was the qa'idah we've learned, that the mushrik of the Quraysh, whom Prophet was sent to, they said that we called Allah through them to seek closeness to Allah, okay, or and shufa'a in Allah, to be shafi for us, to intercede for us. So they believed Allah, but they did not call Allah directly. They went through idols and the righteous. That was their major shirk. Because why? Allah commanded us to worship Him alone, call on Him alone, without taking intermediaries. That was the second thing we've learned. We explained step of shafa'a. Okay, give me two first shafa'a that Prophet will do for us. Do you remember shafa'a, intercession, Yawm al-Qiyamah? What's the first one Prophet will do for?
The person is for his ummah?
Yeah, he's going to make. What do you call that shafa'a? Shafa'a al-Uzma. The greatest shafa'a, where he will intercede to start for the day judgment to start. Okay? What will happen before that, Tahmid? Before we go...
his ummah will go to all of the prophets one by one, and they will say, I made a mistake, I fear Allah today, go to Nuh. Nuh will say, go to the next prophet.
Yes, everyone will pass it on.
And then it will go to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
And he will intercede the shafa'a. The shafa'a al-Uzma, the greatest shafa'a, that Prophet will make for Day of Judgment to start. That's specifically for him. What's the next shafa'a Prophet will make?
Shafa'a.
Intercession on the Day of Judgment.
The shafa'a for Abi Talib?
Now, that's khas for him or for everyone? Is that khas?
For Abi Talib? I heard that
can we
shafa'a for him until he'll take him to the least mountain.
Yeah. Can we say so? Can we evidence now? Kafir can make shafa'a for his mushrik mum. Why not?
It's khas for Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Okay, that's one of the khas. What is the next shafa'a Prophet will make? Go on. Yeah, inshallah.
Intercede for us.
Intercede for
The Ummah.
Just intercede for Ummah. What is the next one? Next shafa'a. Even here.
To take the Muslims out of hell, the Muslims that ended up in hellfire.
No. The Ahlul Jannah to enter Jannah. Prophet will make shafa'a for the people of Jannah to enter Jannah. Okay? That's specifically for him as well. The rest of them for everyone. So the one you said to make shafa'a for the Ahlul Nar to enter Jannah is for all the prophets. Okay? All the righteous, the Malaika, they will intercede for the people of hellfire to enter Jannah. Okay? So these are some of the shafa'a Prophet and the other Anbiya will make for the people. طيب. We mentioned shafa'a 2 types. Do you remember, Akhi? 2 types of shafa'a. No. We mentioned, we covered all that. We mentioned shafa'a 2 types. One is all that, and then one is
shafa'a manfiya.
Manfiya.
And it's negation, it's haram.
Haram.
And shafa'a mutbita.
Muthbita, that's the 7 we covered. The 5 we mentioned. These are all allowed. Okay, these intercession allowed. Yamul Qiyamah. The shafa'a which is forbidden, where is forbidden? Where? What are you talking about?
It's talking about seeking shafa'a from the creation, basically to give intercession to Allah and ask Allah, because shafa'a has 2 conditions with Allah. That Allah, he has to be happy with his intercession, and he has to give his ithmu permission.
Permission, yeah.
Was it ithmu?
So that's talking about shafa'a in dunya. That's dunya. So manfiya, shafa'a which relate to, which is forbidden, is in dunya. Like people go to the righteous. Like we covered some of the people ayah that they take them as the shafa'a with Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay. Okay, so they say that these are shufa'a with Allah Azza wa Jal. Now the Muslims do that. They take them as a shufa'a. So but this shufa'a we're talking about, shufa'a of Shafi', intercessors, we talk about intercessors in the dunya. And that's what is forbidden. طيب. So remember those qa'idah, inshallah. We covered 2 of them, the 2 left. Al-Qa'idah Thalitha. The 3rd principle now, we try and finish it off inshallah. أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ظهر على الأناس متفرقين في عبادتهم منهم من يعبد الملائكة ومنهم من يعبد الأنبياء والصالحين ومنهم من يعبد الأحجار والأشجار ومنهم من يعبد الشمس والقمر وقاتلهم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ولم يفرقوا بينهم. Now here Shaykh said that the Prophet ﷺ whom he was sent to, the Quraysh, they used to worship different things. Among them who worship angels, among them who worship prophets, righteous, among them who worship stones and rocks, among them who worship the sun and the moon. Prophet ﷺ did not separate any of these worship. Okay? He fought all of them. And he considered all of them to be shirk. Okay? Allah says in the Quran, وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا. How do you feel these people who say, oh, we worship prophets and the righteous. So we're not worshipping idols. What's wrong with that? We say even that's shirk. Okay? We say, Allah said, وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ, worship Allah alone. وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِشَيْئًا. Now we say, my brother, Allah says in the Quran, وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِشَيْئًا. This word shay'a means it's indefinite, comes after prohibitions with anything. Shay means things. So do not associate anything with Allah. So this anything here means that include prophet, malaika, the stone and the rocks you're talking about. So that I refuse this argument. Allah did not make exceptional. Or you can worship. If you as long as you worship the prophet and the malaika, it's okay, you're righteous people. But Allah does not make any exceptional in that. So Prophet considered, and Allah considered all of them to be shirk. In the Quran, another verse Allah said, وَالَّذِينَ تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِهِ أَوْلِيَاءَ مَا يَمْلِكُونَ مِنْ قِطْمِيرٍ وَالَّذِينَ تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِهِ أَوْلِيَاءَ. As for those of whom you invoke other than Allah, that includes the prophets, the angels, the stones and the rocks and trees. مَا يَمْلِكُونَ مِنْ قِطْمِيرٍ. They will not able to, ماذا? Create qitmir. Qitmir is a shell, it's basically a cover, okay, on a date. You know the white cover you have on dates, that's called qitmir. Allah saying that those people who invoke other than Allah, that means prophet, angel, the righteous, trees and the rocks and whatever, they cannot create that white layer of dates. If you open, you'll find the white layer. That's called qitmir. They won't even create that. So why are you worshipping them? Okay? So, Allah did not see them one thing. Allah did not make any exceptional. Whatever is worship beside Allah, He saw them to be shirk. So that's what Shaykhul-Islam brings the statement here. Because there are people out there, they say, we don't worship idols, but we call them righteous, the prophets. Okay, Allah said, وَقَاتِلُهُمْ حَتَّى لَا تَكُونَ فِتْنَةٌ وَيَكُونُ الدِّينُ لِلَّهِ. Allah said, fight them until there's no fitna, there's no shirk. And deen is only for Allah Azza wa Jal. Now the ayah for people who worship stars and the moon, like Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah said, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ اللَّيْلُ وَالنَّهَارُ وَالشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرُ لَا تَسْجُدُوا لِلشَّمْسِ وَلَا لِلْقَمَرِ. Allah said, from the signs of Allah, night and the day, stars and the moon. Do not make sajda to them. Why? Because people make sajda to them. They call on them, invoke on them. Like people tell Ibrahim alayhi salam, they believe these stars and the moon has some sort of control or something. Allah said, do not make sajda to them. Make sajda to the one who created them. So that's one of the verse you can use to say that people used to worship stars and the moon. Because Allah is commanding them not to make sajda to them. Malaika. ولا يأمركم أن تتخذوا الملائكة والنبيين أربابا. Allah talking about the people that they used to worship angels and the prophets. Allah did not command any of you to take Lord beside Allah. Okay? Like taking Lord, angels and the prophets. Allah said, أولئك الذين يدعون يبتغون إلى ربهم وسيلة أيهم أقرب ويرجون رحمته ويخافون عذابه. Allah said, those of you invoke other than Allah, okay, they worship Allah alone. They do righteous action, okay, and they fear Allah Azza wa Jal. And they hope for the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal. Now this ayah is talking about, Allah is talking about this ayah, the two tafsir on this ayah. First tafsir is that this ayah evidence that people do worship, invoke other than Allah. First tafsir is that this talking about Isa, Maryam, Uzair. Allah is talking about them. And those people who worship those prophets, Uzair, some say Uzair is the prophet, but he's a righteous man, or Maryam or Isa, okay, they seek closeness to Allah through their worship. They fear Allah. They want the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal. So in other words, you worshipping somebody needs Allah, needs Allah's mercy, needs Allah's forgiveness. That's one of the tafsir. The second tafsir is that they say that it is referring to the Muslim human who are worshipping jinn, and the jinn became Muslim, and the jinn were invoking Allah. They're worshipping Allah alone. Okay, they become righteous. So this ayah is an evidence for the people who are worshipping the righteous. But those righteous are worshipping Allah. Why are you worshipping them? Why are you worshipping those people? So this is evidence that Prophet was sent to people. There are people who worship righteous. There are people who worship, stones and the rocks. You have another group of mushrik. What's the evidence for that? Allah said, أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ اللَّاتَ وَالْعُزَّى وَمَنَاةَ الثَّالِثَةَ الْأُخْرَى. Okay, Allah said, have you not seen Lat wal Uzza wa Manat, the third, the Manat? Okay, now these three, Lat, Uzza, Manat, who are these? Let's take one by one. Lat is an idol or situated between Mecca and Medina. It is the name Lat was taken from Ilah. Okay, that's one tafsir, and they gave it to the idols. Okay, and it was one of the greatest idols for the mushrik of the Quraysh, the mushrik of that time. And this is the Lat. Have you not seen Lat? Now Lat it's like a rock apparently, and obviously when Prophet conquered Mecca, he took the power. He sent Mughira bin Shu'bah to destroy this Lat, the rock they used to worship. Yadu billah. Okay, that's one tafsir. The second tafsir they say, which is doesn't contradict the first one. They say Lat was the name of a person. He was a righteous man. The Lat was given to the person what he is to do. So Lat is from Latta. Latta is to mix flour and water together, okay, and make bread for the pilgrims. So what this man needs to do is to do that, okay, and he used to feed the pilgrims. He honor them, he would honor them, and he was a righteous man. So Allah said, "Afaraytumul Lat," referring to that man. Have you not seen Lat? Meaning that when he died, Lat, they made basically where they buried him, and there was a rock there, and they would glorify him. They go to the grave and they glorify him and things like that. Yadu billah. So they basically took him as a Rabb. So that's the story, tafsir behind this ayah, who Lat is. So either way, it doesn't contradict. Either both of them are rock anyway. But the second tafsir, this rock represents the righteous man. He was buried there. But anyway, they would glorify him and they worship him, yadu billah, because he was a righteous person. That's two tafsir what Lat mean. Obviously, Mughira bin Shu'bah was sent by Prophet ﷺ, radiallahu anhu. He destroyed Lat, the rock. أَفَرَعَيْتُمُ اللَّاتَ وَالْعُزَّةِ. The mushrik is to worship those Uzza. The Uzza was the rock, or it was rock, but actually it was a tree, palm tree. Okay? Uzza was a palm tree. And it was in a house, and they would glorify that. And that Uzza, that tree, was in it was a mushrik female jinn, very ugly. And when people make dua, call, and she responds, shaitan in it. So what do you expect? So what happened was that Prophet sent Khalid bin Walid to destroy that. And he went and he cut it, and he went back. Prophet said, you haven't killed Uzza, go back. As he went, she ran off. She had ugly hair everywhere, and she ran off, and eventually he caught her and he killed her. And then he came back, and Prophet said, now you have killed Uzza. So Uzza was incarnated in a tree, which people worshipped, and they glorified the tree, and she would speak for them. And they thought they're speaking to Allah. Allah is responding to their dua. That was Uzza, a jinn. So Allah talking about these idols, trees and rock, was worshipped, and not only that, they used to seek blessing through those idols. It's in Kitab al-Tawhid as well. They seek blessing through these idols. Not only worship them, but they think that will give them barakah. Okay? وَمَنَاةَ الثَّالِثَةَ الْأُخْرَى. And the third is Manat. So Lat killed by Mughira. Allah, Prophet said Mughira radiallahu anhu, he destroyed Lat. Uzza was destroyed by Khalid bin Walid, and Manat was destroyed by Ali radiallahu anhu. Also another rock, it was a rock I think here, and it was god of the mushrik of the Quraysh. They glorified that, and this is they prove that they worship stones and trees. This is evidence. They worship stones. Tahmid. It's hard, yeah? Just try and listen, inshallah. So they worship the stones and the trees. That's the evidence. The Uzza was a tree. Ahjar was, stone was Lat wal Manat. The rock, basically. Tayyib. So that's an evidence. Another evidence Shaykhul-Islam brings is that حديث أبي واقد الليث رضي الله عنه قال خرجنا مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى حنين ونحن حدثاء أحد بكفر. They said that the Sahabi narrating a story, the Prophet ﷺ went out with some of the companions who embraced Islam very recently. Okay? And what happened? They're going, obviously if they're new in the deen, their iman going to be weak and they'll be ignorant, isn't it? So as they're going, they say, وَالْمُشْرِكِينَ سِدْرَ يَعْكِفُونَ عِنْدَهَا وَيَنُوطُونَ بِهَا أَسْلِحَتَهُم. So the mushrikun had a palm tree and they will يَعْكِفُونَ, يَعْكِف min عُكُوف, mean they'll go there and they will glorify that place, that tree. يَنُوطُونَ بِهَا, they will hang their asliha, يعني they will hang their sword on that tree. Why would they do that? Because they're seeking blessing from those that were and what? They're seeking blessing from those trees. Okay? So the mushrikun would put that, and when the Muslim, they knew in the deen, they thought, wow. So the mushrik, they don't know, they're seeking blessing from the tree. So what happened? Salam. And they said, this tree called that wa and what? So Sahaba, when they saw, they were amazed. So فَمَرَرْنَا بِسِدَّةٍ, we passed by, فَقُلْنَا, we said, Ya Rasulullah, اجعل لنا ذات and what? كما لهم ذات and what? Okay, make, O Messenger of Allah, make a that and what, like they have that and what. We want to have it. But this statement is statement of kufr. Because those sahab, those mushrikun, the seeking blessings from the tree, so the asliha, the sword, yani, will be blessed. So when they fight, they can fight properly, become strong, you know. So that belief is a major kufr, because tree cannot give you blessing. Tree cannot give you barakah. But mushrikun, they believe that. So Sahaba, look at this benefit we can take from this. They thought we can do that as well. So they asked Prophet ﷺ, Ya Rasul, give us one of the zat wa anwas. We can do same thing what they're doing. Did Rasul accept it? La. He said, Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest. Allah is free from what you said. Innaha sunan. It is a path, a way, which you have said. It's same as what the Bani Israel said to Musa alayhi salam. You know, when Musa alayhi salam, he took them out from Fir'aun and they came to the sea and they crossed the sea. As they crossed, they saw people were glorifying some idols. Okay? So Musa alayhi salam went for 40 days and they made their calf and they started worshipping it. So they said to Musa, Ya Musa, ij'al lana ilahan kama lahum aliha. They said exactly what Prophet, the Sahaba said. In fact, what Sahaba said exactly what Musa alayhi salam was told. O Musa, make us aliha as they have aliha. Okay? Yani, idols, like those people had. But he said, they weren't Muslim anyway. So, قَالَ إِنَّكُمْ قَوْمٌ تَجْهَلُونَ. Okay? Indeed, you are people of ignorant. So, Musa alayhi salam did not declare them to be non-Muslim, because they didn't know. Nor did Prophet declare the Sahabas to be non-Muslim, because they didn't know. So what we learn is that Prophet taught them. So if someone were to make a statement of kufr, major kufr, and generally we say person is ignorant, because personal knowledge will never say knowingly. No one will make a kufr statement knowingly. So Sahaba didn't know, because what the hadith says, ahad bi kufr, meaning hudatha, ahad bi kufr, meaning hudatha, meaning they're new in the deen. They were new in the deen at the time they made the kufr statement. Okay? So Prophet ﷺ reprimanded them, okay? And he just said, your statement is exactly what Musa ﷺ was told by the Bani Israel. What the Bani Israel said to Musa ﷺ exactly matches what you said. Okay? So he made the likeness, subhanallah. So Prophet ﷺ told them off, and they did not come back to it. That showed that that's when they had the knowledge. When the knowledge came to them, they left it. If they continued, they would have been a kafir. But because they didn't know, udhr bil jahal, the ignorant, Prophet overlooked. He taught them. So we can take a benefit from this, is that if a person commits an act of kufr or statement of kufr, then if the person, generally we say the person is ignorant, and then we explain to them the haqq, inshallah, as Prophet did that here. So Shaykh gives some of the benefit. لا فرق بين أن يكون معبود متخذ من دون الله حجرا أو شجرا أو ملكا أو نبيا أو كوكبا. Shaykh said that there's no difference between the one who worships other than Allah, like hajar, stone, trees, angels, prophets, stars. There's no different. Because if you do that, you're worshipping, it's a shirk. Allah did not differentiate. They're all shirk. And you'll be surprised, a lot of Muslims believe that, you can go to the righteous, like Abdul Jilani, and the people do that, and they believe there's special power or something. So Allah did not separate. They're all same. Anything worshipped beside Allah, whether it's the Prophet, stone, angel, all same. They all considered to be shirk. كل من صرف العباد لغير الله وكل من توسط للقرب والشفاعة فهو مشرك. That whoever direct worship other than Allah, or whoever takes intermediaries to seek closeness to Allah or intercessors, is mushrik. That's what the mushrik of the Quraysh did. And a lot of Muslims, when they go to the idols nowadays, the righteous, that's what they want, shufa'a. They won't expect their Prophet to make shafa'a for them, take the good deed to Allah, yadu billah. So these all form of shirk, my brothers. Okay, so we're talking about Prophet was sent to people who worship different things. Okay, the different things they worship. And now who does the Hindu worship? They worship different things, yadu billah. Bull, they worship trees, they worship men with 8 hands or whatever, So they got the different shapes, the different form. So what Shaykh is saying is reality in our time. And people are worshipping different things. Ya'udhu billah. طيب. The next qa'idah. طيب. The benefit also, my brothers, is that those people who worship other than Allah, okay, Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah will gather the idols, the alihat, who they worship, and the alihat وَيَكْفُرُونَ بِشِرْكِكُمْ. The ayah comes to the end, and they will disbelieve in the shirk. The aliha they worship, they reprimand them. Okay? They will reprimand them. Allah says in the Quran, وَيَوْمَ يَحْشُرُهُمْ جَمِيعًا ثُمَّ يَقُولُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ أَهَؤُلَاءِ إِيَّاكُمْ كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ قَالُوا سُبْحَانَكَ أَنْتَ وَلِيُّنَا مِنْ دُونِهِمْ بَلْ كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ الْجِنَّ أَكْثَرُهُمْ بِهِمْ مُؤْمِنُونَ. Allah said that وَيَوْمَ يَحْشُرُهُمْ جَمِيعًا, and Allah will gather those gods they worship, Allah will gather them all together on the Day of Judgment. And it will be said to the angels, are these they is to worship you? Are these they is to worship you? And the angel will say, glory be to you, Allah. You're the protector. There's no protector except you. In fact, they're worshipping the idols. أَكْثَرُهُمْ بِهِمْ مُؤْمِنُونَ. And most of them among them are believers. So, those things that they were worshipped other than Allah will be gathered Yawm al-Qiyamah and will speak against them. As Ibn Kathir said as well. So here Ibn Kathir said that أَهَؤُلَاءِ إِيَّاكُمْ كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ. Are these who worshipped you, the angels, are these they worshipped you? أَيْ أَنْتُمْ أَمَرْتُمْ هَؤُلَاءِ بِعِبَادَتِكُمْ. Did you command them to worship you? كما قال سبحانه وتعالى في السورة أنتم أضللتم بعبادي هؤلاء أم هم ضال سبيل. So basically Ibn Kathir talking about the people who are worshipped would be raised Yawm al-Qiyamah, and Allah will say, did you tell them to worship you? They will say no, they will deny it. They will not accept it. Like the Isa alayhi salam will bring the ayah inshallah soon. So this alihat will speak against them on the Day of Judgment. Okay, now here Isa alayhi salam. Okay, Isa alayhi salam, on the day of judgment, Allah will bring Isa alayhi salam, and Allah will ask Isa alayhi salam, did you tell the people to worship you and your Maryam, your mother? Okay, Allah will speak to Isa alayhi salam. But look at this discussion that will take place. إذ قال الله يا عيسى ابن مريم أأنت قلت للناس اتخذوني وأمي إلهتين من دون الله قال سبحانك ما يكون لي أن أقول ما ليس لي بحق إن كنت قلته فقد علمته تعلم ما في نفسي ولا أعلم ما في نفسك إنك أنت علام الغيوب. Allah said, we'll say to Isa alayhi salam, which Allah knows, that when Allah will say to Isa, oh Isa, son of Maryam, did you say to the people they should take you and your mother to ilahatain, to ilah, yani you should worship other than Allah? He will say, glory be to you, O my Lord. I have no right to say something, I have no right to say such thing, I have no such right to say this. If I did say it, you would have come to know that. You know what is in myself, and I do not have knowledge in yourself, and you have knowledge of the unseen. Now here, Isa alayhi salam will deny that the fact he called people to worship him. In fact, he is the one who called people to worship Allah Azza wa Jalla. Now, one of the things I want to bring in your attention is that he said, nafs. The word nafs, what does it mean in the Quran? You have many other verses, because here it says, the ayah talks about nafs. It says, ماذا قال؟ تعلم ما في نفسي ولا أعلم ما في نفسك. You know what in my nafs, and I do not what's in your nafs. What does the nafs mean? Nafs has many translations. Soul, it means individual person, something like that. It's a different translation it gives. But here nafs means that, essence of Allah. Okay? Allah's essence. تعلم ما في نفسي ولا أعلم ما في نفسك. Man, in your that, in your essence. Okay? So nafs is not sifat of Allah, it's not attribute of Allah Azza wa Jal. In the Hadith Kursi, Allah said, إني حرمت على نفسي. Nafsi mean that. So nafs is not a sifa min sifatillah, it's not attribute of Allah. Sometimes the ulama say nafs is used in replacement of that, essence. And if something has essence, it has a physical structure. So Ibn Taymiyyah said nafs mean وَنَفْسُهُ فِي هِيَ ذَاتُهُ مُقَدَّسَةً. That, nafs means that, not attributes of Allah. So here what we learn, my brothers, that those people worshipped other than Allah, they will be gathered Yawmul Qiyamah, like Malaika will be gathered as well, and they will be told, did you tell these people to worship you? They will say no. No. Like Isa alayhi salam will be asked by Allah Azza wa Jalla. Allah knows. And Malaika will respond, they're worshipping the jinns. طيب. Continue inshallah, the last part of the book, inshallah, then we could finish it today. The next part is أن المشركي زماننا أغلظ شركا من الأولين لأن الأولين يشركون في الرخاء ويخلصون في الشدة ومشركو زماننا شركهم دائم في الرخاء والشدة. Now here Shaykhul-Islam says that the mushrik in our time, so shows that the shirk always predominant. It's not only time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, shirk is always existed. Okay? So Shaykh says that shirk in our time more severe the shirk of the first of the mushrik, the Quraysh. Because the mushrik of the Quraysh, they used to worship Allah, okay? So basically, the mushrik of the Quraysh, at the beginning, they will make shirk at time of ease, time of difficulties, they will worship Allah Azza wa Jal, sincerely. And the disbelief of our time, the shirk is always time of ease and time of difficulties, which is true. Now, Allah says in the Quran, فَإِذَا رَكِبُوا فِي الْفُلْكِ دَعَوْا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ فَلَمَّا نَجَّاهُمْ إِلَى الْبَرِّ إِذْ هُمْ يُشْرِكُونَ. Subhanallah. إِذَا هُمْ يُشْرِكُونَ. Naam. When they ride, Allah talking about the mushrik, when they on the boat, okay, they call upon Allah alone with ikhlas. And when Allah saved them, they go back to the shirk. Okay? So the shirk was at the time of ease, but the time of shiddah, they will call upon Allah Azza wa Jal with sincerity. So, and the mushrik of our time, so the mushrik of the Quraysh, they believe in Allah Azza wa Jal, not only that they will call on righteous, they'll call on righteous and they'll call upon Allah Azza wa Jal, time of difficulty, they recognize Allah, and they'll call upon Allah Azza wa Jal, time of difficulties. But time of ease, they go make a shirk. But the mushrik of our time, okay, they call upon other than Allah, time of ease and difficulties. Okay, they call upon other than Allah, time of ease and difficulties. And not only that, the mushrik of our time, they don't worship the righteous, they worship anything. The trees. Okay, dog maybe, tree, whatever. They will anything they will worship. So that's the difference between the mushrik of the Quraysh and the mushrik of our time. And the mushrik of the Quraysh, they believed in Allah Azza wa Jal, the Lord of the heaven and the earth. But nowadays mushrik don't believe that. They believe the Lord is the idols. Okay, they believe this is the protector. So here da'wah, talking about da'wah, this ayah talks about da'wah. Da'wah here means da'wah, the two types of da'wah. Da'wah al-ibadah, da'wah al-mas'ala. Da'wah al-mas'ala is talking about talab al-haja. That was talab al-haja, seeking need to be saved from this tufan, whatever they're going through. So they turn back to Allah Azza wa Jal. So when you see in the Quran any verses where it talks about dua, da'wah, talking about two types of dua. Dua al-mas'ala, which is dua of the need. And you ask Allah only where no one can help you except Allah Azza wa Jal. Like you in a sea now, and the tufan comes, you're going to die now. You do call upon Allah Azza wa Jal. You put your trust in Allah Azza wa Jal. That's seeking your need, your help, your support, your protection. And dua al-ibadah is anything to do with ibadah. You seek reward from Allah. So dua al-ibadah, dua which relate to worship, is seeking for your reward. So when you make dua, when you worship Allah Azza wa Jal, this is a form of dua. And you only ask Allah for the reward. Okay? You only ask Allah for the reward to give you for this ibadah. So any verse in the Quran where Allah talks about da'wah, here Allah talks about dua, means include dua al-ibadah and dua al-mas'ala. Both of them. Okay, because even dua al-mas'ala, only Allah can aid you, support you, protect you and give you. And if you were to turn the other than Allah, it will be shirk. Like this, in this case, the ship, the mushrik will turn back to Allah Azza wa Jal. When they were affected by the tufan, the ship, the wave, you can't turn back to other than Allah Azza wa Jal. You have to go back to Allah for your need. So remember that, inshallah. Dua are two types: ibadah and mas'ala. Any verse, any hadith that talks about. So Shaykhul-Islam brings this benefit for us that we should learn that ibadah is always for Allah Azza wa Jal, and know that shirk is always existed and always will exist, and people worship many things, and they call upon many things. And here, Shaykhul-Islam said, Innal mushrikeen, or Innal mushriki, he didn't say Innal kuffar, because there's a difference between mushrik and a kafir. The mushrik is the one who worships Allah, okay, worship other than Allah, okay, he invokes other than Allah, that's mushrik. Kafir does not, is not a mushrik. Kafir is the one who just denies Prophet of, denies Allah, denies Prophet, denies Islam. He doesn't worship anything. The hukum is same, but the word has meaning to it, because kafir doesn't worship anything. He's not a mushrik, he's just a kafir. Someone is atheist. Okay, he's a kafir. You can't say mushrik. He used the word mushrik here because the Shaykhul-Islam is mushrik because they're talking about people worship beside Allah. Okay, that's why the word kuffar is not used here, mushrik, because we're talking about people worshiping different things. Okay, so every mushrik is a kafir, every kafir is not mushrik. Why? Because mushrik, when he worships other than Allah, he has denied the haqq, denied the truth, he covered the truth. And every kafir is not mushrik because kafir is just someone who denied the creation, or denied the haqq, denied the prophethood, denied the messenger of Allah, denied Islam, denied Allah, denied the day of judgment. He's just a kafir. He's not a mushrik. He never worshipped anyone beside Allah. So the ulama said that's the difference between mushrik and a kafir. That's why Shaykhul-Islam used mushrik instead of kafir. But the hukum on the day of judgment is same. They're Ahlul Nar anyway. But the wording, these are meaning of these two words, kafir and mushrik. طيب إخوان, so that's the last qa'idah the Shaykhul-Islam brings. Good important we learn this, know this, because there are different type of mushrik. Among the mushrik, there are different levels anyway. Mushriks, you go mushrik like Fir'aun. Fir'aun is not same as Abu Talib. Abu Talib is better mushrik. It is, he didn't believe he's a god, you know. But Fir'aun, he believed to be a god, yadu billah. So among the kuffar, you have different levels. The shirk is different level. So these are the four qawaa'id we covered, mashallah brothers. Very simple, very precise. I hope you benefited, alhamdulillah. So that's it. Khalas, inshallah, you know. So next week, inshallah, next Monday, we try to do something different. Hopefully, inshallah, you will enjoy. Something to do with Aqidah Manhaj, inshallah. And I'm reading the book, and hopefully we start. Any clarification you want me to clarify, inshallah? Clarify. Go on.
Ask a question. You said the shifa of dunya. Yeah.
Shifa, yeah.
So if I ask like a friend to make dua for me, is that wrong?
No, it's not wrong. We're talking about shafa'a of the dunya, which is manfiya. Is shafa'a manfiya, which is going to the righteous, going to the grave of the righteous, going to the grave of the Prophet, or anything like that. They are dead, and you're asking them to make dua, take a good deed up to Allah Azza wa Jal. That's shirk billah Azza wa Jal. But if someone is alive going to Umrah or Hajj, yeah, you ask them to make dua for you. That's different. That's different, yeah. It's not like that. Yeah.
You know, you spoke about the mushrikeen and the kuffar. So you know, you said that the mushrikeen are the ones who worship other than Allah, and the kafir is the one who doesn't believe.
Yeah, they're different, yeah, in al-fadl meaning.
Ahlul Kitab, Yahuda wa Nasara, what would we class them as? Just Ahlul Kitab or kafir?
No,
they're mushrik.
Ahlul Kitab, they're kuffar. They're kuffar. I mean, no, Allah in the Quran, you know, Allah talks about the Jews worship the Uzair. They made shirk with Allah by saying Uzair is son of Allah, and the Christians said that Isa alayhi salam is son of Allah. So that's a shirk.
They're mushrik.
They're mushrik because they associate partner with Allah in that aspect. They gave Allah, they made shirk in a sense that they gave the attribute of creation to Allah Azza wa Jal, which is shirk, yeah, we shirk billah Azza wa Jal. So if someone says Isa is son of God, it is a shirk because you made partner with Allah. We gave the sifat of the attribute to Allah Azza wa Jal, because only human can have children, not Allah. Billah. So for you to say Allah has a kid or whatever, then this is shirk, yeah, no doubt, shirk. Yeah. Also, it's kufr at the same time. when you commit shirk, you commit kufr. Kufr means in a sense that you covered the haqq. What is the haqq? That Allah is unique. There's nothing like Allah Azza wa Jal. He is the only one. And He has no partners. But by saying that, Allah has a son, you've covered that. Because kafara means to cover, isn't it? So when you say, I don't believe in Prophet, I don't believe Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to be a messenger, you are a kafir. Why? Because you've covered the haqq.
Is it they're both?
Eh?
They're both. So
Yeah.
The mushrik and
The mushrik and they're kafir as well.
Something like, when they used to conquer land, they used to offer Ahlul Kitab jizya, but the mushrikeen, the idol worshippers, they say become Muslim, we fight you. They don't get jizya option. So Ahlul Kitab, and in Zoroastrian, the fire worshipper, they would get the option to pay jizya. But then if there was idol worshippers, they wouldn't get the option to pay jizya. They would just either become Muslim or we fight you.
Yeah, because if you conquer a land, you can't allow shirk to take place, is it? That's what it is. You can't allow shirk to take place. But yeah, you can't force them to become Muslim, but they have to pay the jizya, yeah.
Yeah, because it's direct command from Allah in the Quran, so that's why they get that option.
Yeah, they have to pay jizya. Any more, inshallah?
There's a big one, isn't there? The one that they say, someone who worships a grave, worships an idol, bows to anything, does he get udhr bil jahal because he doesn't know, or is he still a kafir straight away, even if he doesn't know? So if someone worships a grave and he's just jahil, he goes with the brevis, and he's just some, young man, he doesn't know anything, he thinks he's practicing Islam, they tell him, come worship this grave, he starts worshipping it.
Imam al-Nawawi said, that if someone is ignorant about knowledge of the deen, and he lives in a land where he can attain the knowledge, he's got access to knowledge, and he's ignorant, then it's not accepted. But if a person lives in a land where there is no Muslims, he's got no access to knowledge, then he has excuse. Now, living in this country, a person has no excuse to be ignorant about shirk. If he's ignorant, it's not accepted because you have access to knowledge. You can learn the deen. You can learn. So it's not accepted. Allah alam. But, it's a dangerous zone to be in, that you're ignorant live in a country where you can learn your knowledge and you're ignorant. So Allah alam, it can be questioned.
Making takfir on them is dangerous as well, isn't it?
Yeah. But we as Ahl Sunnah, we give udhr bil jahl. We give udhr bil jahl. We accept that. But scholar, they explain that where you can attain your knowledge, intentionally you keep away from knowledge. I don't want to learn, then this is not accepted. It's not accepted. Yeah. So they should pay attention to that.
Shaykh, what about those people that, they say that if a person worships a grave, things like that, they say this is not, they wouldn't categorize that as shirk. They say, like we've seen some speakers, some ignorant speakers now saying that. I understand people are following that. Some people I've spoken to, subhanAllah, they actually believe that.
There's that big doubt going around, isn't it? I was speaking to Ustadh about it.
No, this ayah in the Quran. Let me just answer this, inshallah, 1 minute. Now, what did we cover today? That the Prophet ﷺ was sent to the people, or the people who were worshipping different things, and Prophet did not separate them. They're all shirk, and he didn't say, do you believe he's a God or not a God? All shirk billah azza wa jal. Those who worship stars and the moon, the rocks and the angels and righteous, they're all shirk. These are all shirk. They're considered to be shirk. In the Quran, Allah said, وَمَن يَدْعُو مَعَ اللَّهِ إِلَهًا آخَرَ لَا بُرْهَانَ لَهُ بِهِ فَإِنَّمَا حِسَابُ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ إِنَّهُ لَا يُفْلِحُ الْكَافِرُونَ. That whoever invoke other than Allah, they have no evidences, and the hisab will be with Allah Azza wa Jal, and the kafirun have no success. Look, Allah ends the verse with saying they're kuffar, and He starts the verse by saying whoever invoke other than Allah, the kuffar has no success. Shows that invoking other than Allah is major kufr, major shirk. and it does take out the fold of Islam, whether you believe it is a God or not a God. Okay? Another verse, Allah said in the Quran as well, وَالَّذِينَ تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِهِ مَا يَمْلِكُونَ مِنْ قِطْمِيرٍ. That's the ayah. As for those who invoke other than Allah, they cannot create qitmir. وَإِن تَدْعُوهُمْ لَا يَسْمَعُوا دُعَاءَكُمْ وَلَوْ سَمِعُوا لَمْ يَسْتَجِيبُوا لَكُمْ وَيَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ يَكْفُرُوا بِشِرْكِكُمْ. Okay? Allah said that as for those who invoke other than Allah, they cannot create qitmir. We explain what qitmir is here. And if you were to invoke on them, they will not able to hear you. And if they were to able to hear you, they won't able to respond to your dua because they're dead. They can't. And on the day of judgment, what does Allah say? Those idols, those God you worship beside Allah, they will deny your shirk. They will deny your shirk. So Allah said, those of you invoke other than Allah, and He ends the verse by saying that they will deny your shirk. So Allah named it shirk. It's a shirk. Okay? So invoking other than Allah is shirk. Allah didn't say except if you don't believe it's a God. He never said that. Merely going to them is shirk. Allah said it's shirk. So there enough evidences, clear verses to say this is shirk. So I don't know where they get the evidence from. A'udhu billah.
You know, in the time of the Salaf, was it a case of, because one of the things that they use, I was saying it last week, is that how come there's not ijma on it? Meaning, for most things, we have ijma of the madahib and the Salaf. So they use that to strengthen their opinion. So when you go to look for the opinions of the scholars, it's pretty hard to find. I was thinking one of the reasons might be, maybe, because it was quite, 200-300 years after Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in the time of Imam Ahmed, Imam Malik, al-Waadi'i, people like that, and up until, about 200-300 years before Ibn Taymiyyah, 200, maybe at that period, the grave worship wasn't that prevalent. And maybe at the time of Ibn Taymiyyah, they started to come back again. And that's when he started addressing it again. Because that's what they always say. And it's very hard to bring, I've tried to bring that ijma, I can't find it.
Because I think this kind of worshipping other than Allah wasn't prevalent at that time.
Yeah, because then you even have some Hanbali guys, they talk about istighatha and all of this, and they're finding evidences for it, that you can do it and stuff like that. SubhanAllah.
I wouldn't say it's a topic of ikhtilaf. Even Ibn Taymiyyah said some people consider there's a talqeen ba'd al-maut. Some people would go to the graves and they would talk to the people of the graves. And there's some evidence for it from al-Bayhaqi and Nawawi, but even those evidences are a bit weak.
Regarding what?
So he was talking about al-istighatha and why it wasn't people went against it during that time. And then I picked up a book called Kitab al-Ruh by Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawzi. And it turned out that some people considered it sunnah due to some ahadith or some stories of the Salaf or the Sahaba, where they would go to the graves and even recite surah, like the hadith where it says "Iqra'u Surat Yasin ala mawtakum," or
now this understanding that Ibn Uthaymin explained that before they die, you read them, they can benefit from the Surah Yasin. But some of the ulama say it's weak anyway. Shaykh al-Albani makes it weak. So some say it's authentic, but Shaykh Ibn Uthaymin said if you believe it's authentic, then read before the person is dying, not after the death. Yeah, because he talks about Jannah and all that. And if you don't read because it's da'if, then leave it da'if. Shaykh al-Albani makes it da'if. Other makes it da'if. But anyway, so going istighatha bil amwat, Ibn Taymiyyah has a whole book on istighatha anyway. And no Salaf believe that going to the righteous and making dua to them, making istighatha to them, and it is not shirk if you don't believe it is a God. No one gave the concept of shirk.
I think what they do is because the ulama mentioned that they wrote, when you hear Al-Albani talk about it, Ibn Baz talk about it, have you read it? He says this because he doesn't mention the word shirk, they use that to reinforce their opinion, because Ibn Baz said it's haram. Al-Albani even said it's haram. But because they didn't mention the word shirk, they're like, how come they didn't say shirk?
No,
See,
but
they
Allah said it's shirk. Allah mentioned you are kafir. Allah said shirkikum.
يكفرون
بشرككم يوم القيامة.
We go to the Salaf to back
Why
up our claims.
you have to?
They use the same thing.
Allah saying shirk, and when those people worship different alihat, mushrik, they didn't believe they are their God. They didn't believe the idol to be their God. They didn't say their God is Allah. They believe Allah is our Lord. If you were to ask them to create heaven and earth, they will say Allah. We send down the rain, Allah.
See, so what they're saying is, they're saying we believe it's clearly wrong, it's haram, it's going to lead to shirk, but if they don't believe it, then it's not. If they don't believe it's a God, then it's kaba'ir.
So why did Allah say shirk even they don't believe it's a God? Allah mentioned these things, shirk.
So what they're trying to say is, Allah is specifically talking khas about the idols and about the rocks and the trees and the things that were that they was worshipping at that time is specific for that. Now it's not specific for someone in the grave.
And the hukum is always there. The hukum for them and they is same. It's same.
Because they might say, how come Ibn Kathir didn't say, in the tafsir, he didn't mention graves.
Even in Surah Zumar, how it says they don't worship other than Allah except to bring them close to Allah.
Yeah, that's what they say.
They're intending not that thing in the grave. They're intending Allah, but they want that thing to bring them more close to Allah.
One thing we can all be sure of, everyone in this room, we're never going to do talabul awn with the grave, But it's just they're using that. And the thing is, all of the grave worshippers and all of that, because of these certain speakers, they're like, look, we're getting power now. Like people say,
What is shirk? Shirk is to invoke other than Allah. That's shirk. Okay? In Hadith Ibn Abbas, the Prophet was asked, what is shirk? He said, أَن تَجْعَلُوا لِلَّهِ نِدَّ وَخَلَقَكَ, to make partners with Allah when He created you. So that's the definition of shirk. So when you worship other than Allah, you made shirk because you made partners with Allah. It's not got nothing to do with whether you believe it's a God or not a God. You turn the worship other than Allah is shirk. Why is that I have to believe it is a God? I don't have to believe it is a God. That's nothing to do. You made the fact you worship that idol, you made partner with Allah. Because you gave Allah's haqq to that thing. That's shirk. They add that thing ajib. No one ever mentioned this.
See, they're not. What it is because we focus on the dua and the talab. They don't focus on that. They're saying that by asking someone that is dead to ask Allah, you're not making dua to them. You're asking them to ask Allah for you. That's what they're saying.
That's what the mushrik of the Quraysh did. So why Allah send a messenger to tell them this is wrong?
That's the best answer.
So why didn't Allah know that?
Yeah, it's true. It's that they're just differentiating.
So why did Prophet of Allah didn't differentiate all this? He saw this one thing.
Yeah. And then they use those silly evidences, they say.
Now we're going to ask them now. We're going to ask them, okay, you asking us this question, we're going to ask you now. Give me evidence to say that you have to believe it is a God. Yeah. Then it becomes shirk. Give me the concept of definition then.
Where did you get that from?
Where did you get that from?
Where's the ijma on that?
Oh, ijma, yeah. We can throw it back on them as well, isn't it? Can't block all the time. We have to give something to them, isn't it?
The evidences are pretty weak as well. Like they talk about, the hadith of Isra
it doesn't make sense.
Isra al-Miraj, Musa was praying in his grave. That means they're alive in their grave.
Can you imagine if you believe the shirk is to believe if you take them as a God, then it's shirk. Can you imagine, akhi? Then we're going to say, we're going to Shah Jannah Muqad Jilani, it is all allowed. A'udhu billah. What's the difference between Abu Talib?
That's true.
Abu Lahab, Abu Jahl. They all believe same thing what you believe. You should learn Aqidah from them. La ilaha illallah.
Even they understood the definition of La ilaha illallah better than
you, man. Yeah. The Arabic so good, understood La ilaha better than Muslim nowadays. Allahu Akbar. Anyways, this never been a shubuhat. It wasn't never been a shubuhat before. Now he just this guy, he exploded. He just came up, Yasir Qadi, He came, nobody ever did it. But he's one of the Shaykh called Shaykh Usama al-Utaybi. Utaybi, yeah. He may say he's in Dik. His fatwa is there. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't. Apart from that, so
A'udhu
many
billah.
things.
One of the sheikhs, I would never pray janaza if he died.
Yes, I can't.
Yeah.
That's why
A'udhu
when he
billah.
comes to East London Mosque, isn't it? So.
Protect everyone from his shar. Too much shubuhat to bring it. I think he made a video about like bringing people doubts about the Quran.
He's bringing doubts. He's bringing big names as well. Now. He's like Shankiti said it's not shirk. He's bought some.
Nah, he's making up.
scholars as well.
He got other shubuhat in the Quran is not complete.
That's kufr.
No.
Yeah,
It's magical.
he goes, there's a big gap, in Qira'ah and the Ahruf.
Then another one he bought is that he said Ya'juj Ma'juj doesn't exist. If it exists, then we should get, because we have machine to detect them. So you don't need machine. Allah's telling you.
He's very tricky.
Allah's
When
telling
he
you
gets
in the Quran.
when he gets confronted, he takes it back and he said, I was just joking.
Even joking about that's
He's just joking.
for as well. Just joking about it.
Anyway,
Yeah, verse of the Quran. We joke about the verse of the Quran.
we need to know his evil, so we can keep away from his evil. That's what we have to be careful. We take knowledge from.
Yeah, very important.
And his credentials, that's the thing.
And there's brothers I know who learned from some of this stuff.
The books in the shop. His books are still in the shop. He's, the translation of Kitab al-Tawheed. He's got a translation of that.
He's got hujjah against him. He's the hujjah against himself.
I heard his seerah is good
scary.
though.
It's
The
very
seerah of the Prophet of his one is good though. That's what I've been
I
hearing.
wouldn't listen to anything from him.
Well, he's got big
Because you know what
mistakes.
it is?
Big mistakes.
He, when you see the video, okay, this is a separate topic. Like their aqidah comes out anyways.
You start liking him. He's such a good English.
Articulate, it's very
He
articulate.
articulate and he can just pull your heart. That's what it is.
No, there's some guy who went through his Sierra program. There's big inconsistencies.
Just a
Yes.
I'll send it to you.
Ustad, I sent you a question about